Welcome to Birthing Purpose with Lana. Today we have Keesha McMillian. She is a clinical therapist and an author. She has received numerous awards for her community activism and cultural program. She's been recognized by the governor and the mayor for drug prevention and cultural awareness books.
Yeah. Nice to be here.
Yes, I have known Keesha for about probably 20 years now. We used to work together, and she's just always been very creative. She's an advocate, just a great person to talk with, very knowledgeable, full of wisdom. And I said, I have to have her here. You have a lot of information that you can share with others. So thank you for being here. So let's just take everyone through your journey of birthing your purpose as an author. Yeah. And so I'm going to take you through beginning with pregnancy conception. So we all know that I'm not going to say we all know. I believe that God impregnates us or gives us our purpose. Just like, a man impregnates a woman, I believe God gives us our purpose. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so the next thing I talk about when I do the birthing purpose workshops is gender reveal. And this is where I help people to figure out through questioning what their purpose is. And some of the questions I tell them to ask themselves are, what is the theme of your life? What do you do well with the least amount of effort? What do people compliment you for? What are you passionate about? What population do you want to affect? What problem do you want to solve? And can your theme of your life, your gifts and your passions all be merged for you to be able to do something? So the theme of your life, has that writing, loving books, has that always been the theme of your life as a little girl to now?
I would say yes, but most importantly, communicating through the arts. So that has been the overriding theme, whether it be using music, dance, whether it be drawing a picture, whether it be writing my story or writing a book. I've always used the arts to communicate what I was feeling and thinking and what I was receiving from God.
So at what point did you know that I need to make a career out of this thing? So pregnancy confirmation, did God speak to you? Did you have a dream or some vision? Did someone come to you with a prophetic word? Take a career gift test? Like, what was your confirmation? Like, I love the arts, I love writing, I need to make a career out of this.
So I did not start off thinking of this as a career.
Okay.
I was in the practice of serving. I was a director of a prevention program in East Cleveland. And we were looking for ways to reach and communicate with both parents as well as youth. The opportunity came for us to get a grant and to develop a program. So I went home with the thought of how could I transfer some of the knowledge that I had received as a child to some of these parents, so that at the time, East Cleveland was the largest, poorest city in the country, I think it was.
East Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland,
for those who don't know. Mm-hmm.
One of the poorest communities in the country, and that's where I was working. So I wanted to empower my staff as well as myself to come up with ways to reach the youth and their parents, because parents were the ones who were actually working with their kids to really help make the difference in conjunction with us. We were just second party. So I went home one night and I went to sleep. When I woke up, God had implanted in my spirit my first book, and it was called Who Am I? And that book was an interactive activity workbook. It had stories in it. It talked about the history of our culture. It was based on the Nguzo Saba, which is the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And God just put the whole story in my spirit. When I woke up, I wrote the entire book in that one night. And so the next day, I had the book, I had the material, the director was able to get an artist to draw the pictures, and that birthed my first book.
Yes, you have it there?
Yes, I do. It's called.
And it's listening to you, I'm amazed, because that's how it happened with me with this workshop. Oh, wow. Who am I? Yes.
And it's about a little boy named Jamal.
Mm-hmm.
And he learns what his purpose is in life. He does so one of the principles is purpose. One of the principles is faith. One of the principles is creativity. And so there's a portion in the book for them to work with both their parent as well as themselves to get the information that we so sorely need in our culture. So I just, it was instantaneously. It wasn't like a question whether I was going to write it, whether I was concerned about the money, whether, how it would be given, would my name be, nothing was the issue. The fact of the matter is I was called to write it. He planted it in me. It was going to be birthed. It was going to grow, and it was going to carry out the purpose that it had. Because I had a purpose, but it also had a job.
Right.
The Holy Spirit was right there, ushering me along. And from there, I started getting interviews. The book went all over the country, even went outside of the country. And it just took off.
Yeah. Oh, I get it, because that's the same way he gave me the Birthing Purpose workshop. I went to sleep. I woke up, he was talking, and it was so much. I was like, I need to write it down. I wrote it down thinking it was just, he was talking to me, for me. Like, okay, God, I hear what you're telling me. I hear what you're saying to me. Yes. And I'm at the computer and I'm typing and I'm writing. And then I was like, wow, this is amazing how you just spoke to me. And then he said, now share it.
Right.
So I get it.
And you don't even know where you're going and what you're doing. You don't even recognize, like, God, I'm not an author. I didn't do, you are who I say you are. You are who I have commanded and planted in you to be.
Well, yeah, because because I'm telling him I do deliverance. Now you're telling me to go tell people about purpose? I'm like, I've been casting out devils and breaking strongholds. Purpose, where is this coming from? But God said, deliverance, you delivered things from people, and now you're going to deliver them to their purpose. So it's all deliverance. I said, oh, okay. So, yeah. So let's talk about doctor appointments, or should I say God appointments? Because now that God has given us this thing to do, we have to stay connected to him to be able to hear him clearly, so that we do this thing step by step the way he wants it to go. So what are some of your the things you do to stay connected to God? Prayer, Bible study, church, praise and worship, meditation. What do you do to stay connected? What are your God appointments like?
The first thing that I do, I recognize who he is.
Okay.
And that is the gift that my mom gave me. She raised me knowing that there is a God. I saw her kneel on her knees, drop down, praying and worshiping a God. Good times, bad times, on her knees. When people stopped being on their knees, she was on her knees. So that's the first thing. I visually see that image as I speak it. My mother with her head tied up, on hands together, praying to my God and her God. So that's the image I have. Second thing I do is I listen to music. Music speaks to me. So when I hear a song, I'm not just like jamming to the beat. I'm listening to the words.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to see if the anointing is in that song. And if that anointing is there, then God's words are being utilized. And they're speaking to me at a time when I need to hear them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're speaking to me clearly at a time which I need to hear them. So I do that. I go to church. I have a church home. And I try to associate and interact with people who speak into me like you are, who can get a word from the Lord and deliver a word to me so that I can hear it. Everybody, it's so much going around us. God had to just allow this world to be shut down for some of us to hear. So I don't want him to have to shut me completely down in order for me to hear him. So I'm going to look and listen for him in every place I plant my feet. And so since this is his temple, I try to plant my feet in places where I can hear him automatically. And I'm not just limited to looking in the Bible and reading directly his word. Mm-hmm. I do that as well, but I don't only do it with the Bible. I use the daily bread. Oh my God, it speaks to me in some amazing ways at some amazing times. So, and then like I said, I pick and choose who I associate with. I pick and choose who I eat at the table with, Yeah.
And those are all what I call prenatal vitamins. Those are things that nourish the baby, that nourish your spirit, and those are very important and you just ran through them all. You do them all. and I was thinking about when you said about the music. I don't just listen to the beat. I listen to the words. And there was a time in my life where I'm just jamming to the beat. And then I'm like, what are they saying? This is some mess, And so, or it was a time where if the beat wasn't good, I didn't want to pay attention to the song. But as you mature, you're like, no, the words, because there's power in words. So you got to be careful what you put in your spirit. So that's kind of funny to me. Let's talk a little bit about restrictions. So when a woman is pregnant, she cannot do everything. She cannot do drugs, alcohol. She shouldn't, ride roller coasters, do heavy lifting, things like that. So was there anything that you had to cut out of your life to say, if I don't cut this out, I'm not going to do this thing? Whether it be a habit, people, some thinking patterns. For some people, they have to get off social media. If you don't stop looking at everybody else, you're not going to do what God has called you to do. So was there anything in your life that you needed to cut out?
I think at one point or another in my life, I'm a little older, more mature now. I have had to disconnect from all of everything, from people, from disconnect even from employment situations that were unhealthy and toxic. Cut. I had to just disconnect from I've never had to disconnect from stuff like alcohol and gambling and
right.
Pornography, those kind of habits now, because I don't know, that just doesn't excite me.
Right.
So I've had to check my thinking and make sure that what was going in my mind was something that would be pleasing to him. I've also had to disconnect, even with loved ones, like a boyfriend that I really liked or loved, you know, but had to limit the amount of attention and time and energy that was being put in that, and not making enough room for the energy and time and space that's put in the loved one of my life, the one who is sustaining me, the one who is protecting me, the one who is there for me at all times.
Right.
Good and bad.
Right.
You know, when I'm at my worst, he's still been there for me.
That's
so
right.
That comes first.
That's
then
right.
Family, self and family and the rest of the community and all of that. I've had to take a break from trying to be the savior. I had to rethink that thing. I'm not the savior. We got savior.
We've all been there. Woo!
So I've had my share. I is certainly not perfect.
Right.
But I am his work, and he continues to work on me, and to have the opportunities to feel his love and grace. It's amazing.
All right. Let's talk about Lama's class.
Mm.
What type of schooling did you have to do in order to birth your purpose? Let's talk about some of your education.
Okay. Well, I went to Sunday school.
That was first school.
There. School, when they had some good teachers, went to Sunday school.
After Sunday, that's good. That's right.
That was
Get
good.
your kids in Sunday school, viewers.
Exactly.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Cheney. Oh my God, I loved it. African American HBCU. Shout out to Dr. Thorpe, Dr. Spencer, all my professors. I still keep in touch with Dr. Thorpe. He's like a surrogate father to me. Mm-hmm. And so the experience in my Lama's class in college, being at a HBCU, you can't even explain it. The connection, the spirit, the ability to culturally grow and stretch yourself, and to know that you have an obligation, not just to the society, but you have an obligation as an African American. You go out there, you represent, you do the right thing. I love it.
What was your major?
I majored in recreational therapy at Cheney. Mm-hmm. Then I went further when I came back to Cleveland, and I got my master's in counseling. And then I went further to Ashland Theological Seminary and got my advanced license. So I'm continuing to grow. I wouldn't say I've learned in the street of hard knocks, but I have had my share of knocks and pains. Know that I don't care what kind of education I have. The best education I can get is the education that he gives me and the grace that he allows me every day to walk. So the education is my journey every day.
Yes.
Is the journey that I'm on, and I'm learning as I go.
And the careers we have, we're required to have continuing education to even keep your licenses. So we're like forever learners, lifetime learners. Students forever.
A lot of licenses. Licensed social worker, licensed independent chemical dependency counselor with clinical supervision. I don't know, licensed clinical therapist. So I've got a
lot of
certified prevention specialist, and so a lot of licenses. But the best license, like I said, and I'm a child of God, right? So I've been given that license to share His word with other people,
right?
And to integrate his light in everything that I do.
All right. The nursery. So what are some of the things you needed to do what it is you do? For example, funding, equipment, supplies, members, employees, marketing. What are some that someone who wants to do what you do, an author, cultural programming, just all the things that you do, you want to just focus on the book writing or what? What did you need to do everything you do?
I had to have a belief, I had to know what my purpose was in order to do what I do. I had to know which direction I was being taken in. And I needed money, funding. So I had some grants to do some of the things that I do. I had to recognize that that money it's not just based on money. You've got to be able to have a passion about what you're doing and go in it like that. And so don't be distracted, be determined, and be willing to commit to the long haul, regardless of what's going on around you. Hey, this is happening. That's the situation. Go to the situation room and handle it.
All right. The situation.
Go to the situation room and handle it. Make it happen. Keep going. And I needed people to do that because I don't have all the expertise, but there's somebody out here in this big old world who has the answer or expertise in different areas. And I use their expertise to push forward his purpose. And it works.
Right. Labor pains. What did that look like for you? Did you have any roadblocks? Anything?
Absolutely. Negative people, people not wanting to acknowledge, I had one book called God's Greatest Treasure, and my roadblock was the word God on there. They didn't want to acknowledge and bow down to his name. So they didn't want that in the school. They didn't want that here or there. And I'm like, okay, so he's, that's what resides in me. So if you're going to say not the word, okay, go ahead, but it's here. So that was a road stumbling block. I'd say a stumbling block is, like I said, negative people. People will squash your dream and say, oh, that's no good. You can't do that. How you going to do that? You don't have no money. You never wrote anything. That's not grammatically correct. This is so I took their list and I put it over on the fire and burned that up. Kept looking up and kept walking forward. Because I can't go with, you never did this before. Well, maybe it was never done before, but that doesn't mean that it can't be done. That doesn't mean that I have to have this certificate or this license to do what I'm doing. I just need to know where it's coming from and follow that lead.
Postpartum depression. Did you ever experience that after your baby is born and now it's a little low feeling because some reasons are unrealistic expectations?
Yes.
Thought that this thing was going to make you happy, complete you, and no. Or there was a greater cost than you expected, cost more money, more time, maybe slow development. Did you ever experience any postpartum depression?
Yes, after I had delivered the baby and the book was published and printed and ready to go, the marketing. And I think I'm still sometimes
marketing,
because you can market a bad piece of material. But me, I was still, so I had to be the marketer. I had to, kind of switch roles. I already was new to the author role. Now I got to be the marketer too. Now I got to transport the items. I have to sell the item. I have to be ready to present the item. And so those were challenges for me. But I tell you, I still went forward with that challenge. I looked at that challenge and said, okay, who in my environment can assist me in this? And what resources do I have? what resources do other people have, and I lean to that.
Right, which leads me to sometimes your baby will become a little sick. And so we ask ourselves, what is the problem? Who caused the problem? Is the sickness self-inflicted or was it contagious? And what is the natural or supernatural remedy? And so, like you said, you had you went supernatural, of course, in prayer. And then the natural remedy was for you to you had to take on more hats than you wanted to.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
The market and transport. You became a delivery driver and
Exactly. You do what you have.
UPS, FedEx.
Right. Right, right. I became the Uber. I had to balance all of that and continue to work, because the books were not my main job. My main job was, counseling and providing services. So I had to keep that energy together. And at that time, initially, I was directing a larger staff that were doing prevention in the schools. So I was problem solving on that end. And I was still very young. I was like 25. I had a large staff, maybe like 8 people in different schools. And so it was a challenging period, but it was very exciting, rewarding. And I always had this philosophy that everybody needed to be a part of stuff. Everybody needed to help. So I had to learn to grow. So if someone doesn't want to help and that's not been given to them to assist on that project, doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Just means that maybe God is leading them in the.
Because that was me. Every time God gave me something to do, I want to pull everybody in with it.
Right.
He's like, I told you.
What you doing now? Well, I told you this is for you.
Right, right. Oh my gosh. So let's talk about premature birth. Do you think you stepped out too soon on anything? And some people step out too soon because they're impatient, maybe some health issues, life expectancy. They're like, well, I don't know how long I'm gonna live. Let me drop this now. Could be wrong motives, pride, they trying to get revenge, trying to earn God's love, maybe just lack of knowledge why you jumped out too soon. Did you?
I think that at times I was impatient because I ended up doing 8 books, and I still have a few more. But I would go from one to the next. So I need to get this out, and my timing is like this. I gotta get it out because you feeling labor pains. You feel like it's time for it to birth. Like you really have control over that process. When in fact, a story is only written when you've lived a certain thing. So it can't really be birthed before it's time to be birthed. And so I had to learn that too. Just slow it down. You might have it all together and it's all packaged up. Allow the process to go so that whatever needs, God lines other things up. We don't see it, but he working in the background and lining stuff up so that at the perfect time, it's gonna drop. Like they say with their music, they're gonna drop this music or drop.
Right.
It's gonna drop at the perfect time.
Do you think that you felt pressure to keep dropping books because you were getting such accolades for them and you're like, I gotta put another one out? Like, you felt like a little bit of pressure from society or people watching, like,
I didn't feel
them out.
Because I didn't feel the pressure from society to keep pumping them out, but I did get a lot of accolades and people saying, you're doing good. When you gonna put your next one out? But I didn't really feel, because like I said, my first book came from a dream. So it wasn't like I was seeking this out. This was placed on me to do. And so the other things, when it was time, I felt like, hey, well, he'll show me and it'll be clear. And then I can walk in that. So when I was writing, it was because so much was going on in society that the weight of it was like, I have to, the weight of what's happening in our society. And if I have any remedy or any ability to impact it in a different way, then I'm obligated to do. So that, if any pressure, what I saw happening in our world was the catalyst.
Okay.
To make more products that would speak to somebody's spirit.
Right.
If it was one person, two people, if they could get to their spirit like God was getting to mine, then that would help change their lives.
Overdue pregnancy. Do you think anything has been delayed in the project or process? Some people, the delay is they're just operating in sin, just all out the will of God, doing all other kind of stuff that they just know they shouldn't be doing. Fear can hold people back a little bit. Some laziness, like you said, the negative people. There could be lack of funding, lack of exposure. Maybe they live in the wrong city for what it is they want to do, or despising small beginnings. If they can't come out grand, they don't want to come out at all. Is there any piece that may have been overdue, or even like now? You got something that
I think
you need to be dropping that hasn't dropped yet? Because
I probably need to be dropping something right now during this COVID-19 crazy.
I need to be dropped. I feel in my spirit there's an overdue, something going on.
But you know what? I'm able to do it in different ways now. So I don't feel the pressure to do that book.
Yeah.
I'm working, with survivors of human trafficking. And I am producing things all the time. I also, close to my heart, just my mom went to heaven, and I was able to write in that way. I was able to express myself. So I have a lot of venues around me that allow my gift to still be utilized.
In a different way. Yeah.
If I don't get to write another book,
it's okay.
Read what I've written and use it when it's needed.
Right. Red flags. So, red flag. If your purpose has you neglect, disobey, or denounce God, that's a red flag. If your purpose has you neglect yourself, if your purpose has you neglect your immediate family, if your purpose has you neglect your other purpose you say God called you to do, like your purposes are clashing, you're no longer interested in your so-called purpose. Your purpose is illegal, immoral, or unethical. Your purpose changes your character from the way of love. These are just red flags. Not to say if any of this is happening that you're not walking in your purpose, but maybe the way you're doing your purpose needs to switch. Did you have any red flags that have come up through your journey to say, check this?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that the first one where you say where your purpose may cause you to, what's the first one? Neglect what God is telling something.
If your purpose has you neglect, disobey, or denounce God.
Yes, that one. That was a red flag for me in my life. Because I was in a relationship where I was helping somebody. I loved someone and I was helping them, but I was not in complete step with the way in which God allows for those relationships to go. And so I had to disconnect to a certain degree, still be good friends, but in the realm that God would allow the friendship to blossom, not in the realm that I would want to push or make it happen. No.
Right.
Allow to happen in different relationships and how it should bloom in that way. So you can sometimes try to rescue too much.
Yeah.
And then what are you telling God when you're rescuing too much? That you got it and you don't need his help. You can handle it. No, I can't handle it. I need your help.
You're right.
So that's the goodness about having a God that you can depend on.
Amen.
So I was in that first part. I had to check myself and correct myself, and it was received well.
Oh, good.
It was very well received.
Good.
Grateful today for that.
Oh, good. During the wait, so I tell people to stay in God's presence, do what is right in the sight of the Lord, walk in the fruit of the Spirit, share the gospel, save souls, share your testimonies, encourage others, spread knowledge, be grateful, stop complaining, and make no comparisons during the wait until you know what God has called you to do. This is Christianity 101. This is the basics. This is purpose. This is purpose too. Like we want all this other stuff, these businesses, all this stuff, but just do the basic.
Yes.
The Bible. Follow those instructions.
Love
and if
it.
you are doing that, there's nowhere in the world you won't get into purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes. Because you're walking in your purpose right there.
You're right.
I mean, you having faith, you trusting God, you're moving in accordance to his lead. You allow him to be the lead and you to sit on the passenger.
Yeah.
You know, so I love it.
Yeah. He's an amazing GPS, God's positioning system. If you get off track, he will definitely reroute you. His grace and mercy is just endures forever, as the Bible would say. And so I tell people, don't stress out. If you just do the thing, stay in his presence, stay connected, do those God appointments, he will get you right back on track. You wake up in the morning and you say, which is what I say, order my steps.
Yes.
Order my steps, Lord. Because we have a plan and God is like, yeah, okay. Yeah, all right.
Mm-hmm. I say something different. I say, what we doing today, Lord? Where we going today?
Yeah, and I mean, I used to ask God every day what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I heard Joyce Meyer say that.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times I wake up in the morning and because I should have gotten my stuff together at night. I don't know why I didn't, but I'm like, Lord, I don't even know what to wear. And I mean, he would just give it to me. I'm like, okay, I'll put that on. But I'm always talking to him throughout the day. Like, I mean, that's just how I do. Yeah.
So you have that companion with you at all points.
All points, every little thing. And some people say, I've heard people say, God don't care about all that. God, no, he cares about everything concerning me. The little, the big, everything. What?
Yeah.
So don't you tell me my daddy don't care about what
Exactly. Rebuke that.
Care about everything.
Right.
And so
doesn't it?
Because I put on certain colors and got to a place and everybody was wearing those same colors. Listen, I remember going to church and my pastor would always have on those same colors. I'm like, wow, what a connection. So I feel like, no, God, there's purpose in everything.
Even in colors.
Yeah, even in colors.
Well,
let's showcase your babies. And if anyone wants to be able to reach Miss Keesha McMillian, you can reach her at Facebook. She's Keesha McMillian. Her email is keeshamcmillian@wowway.com. All right, let's see those babies. Hold them up. Give me one by one.
I'll give them one by one?
One by one.
Yes.
God's great.
And then we have this one. Struggle continues living in the hood. Survival. And we have the McMillian Kwanzaa Celebration Guide. And this one I wrote with my nephew. It's called Color Me Black. It's about a tea with some famous African-American women.
Okay.
And this one is called Who Am I? Book 2, Challenges. And I have another book called Talking Shoes. And this is Who Am I, Book 1. And I have another book called Survival.
All right.
My babies right now.
Those are the babies. Okay. So once again, if you want to purchase any of these babies, she is at Facebook, Keesha McMillian. Her email is keeshamcmillian@wowway.com.
Now, if they just want to babysit them and not purchase them, they can get them from the library. All they have to do is hit
Oh.
Cleveland.
If you want to babysit them, that's a good one. Yeah, come on. Yes, that's good. And if you want to reach me for a free coaching or deliverance session through Zoom, you can reach me at Instagram, Birthing Purpose with Lana. My email is birthingpurposewithlana@gmail.com, and the website, so you can learn more about deliverance, libertyinchrist.life. So,
wow, I feel like I just had a chance to be coached. I really do. I feel lighter.
oh my goodness.
Honestly, I really thank you.
You did the speaking. What do you, how you feel, coach?
I feel coached.
Good question. You heard some stuff. You got some stuff out. I think you know that you're just in God's will and you're right on track. And I think going through this lets you know, hey, I'm all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you had any doubt, you're doing good. You did good. The process was, yeah. Iron sharpening iron.
Yes. It's like it doesn't matter how long we haven't talked or seen each other. It's like we're still sitting right there in the lobby talking, you know?
Oh yeah, we always connect somewhere. Yeah. Whether it be at your sales you have, your street sales, everywhere. When you came to the district to speak, oh yeah, we always connect. So I look forward to collaborating with you in the future.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
All right, God bless.
All right, bye.